So, just your initial gut reaction to the lengthy announcement from President Trump today.
It's not unexpected. It's something we had been anticipating, and he did what I think we had, or he had said he would do: put on a 10% tariff on all imports, and then go beyond that and have reciprocal tariffs on a number of countries where he thought we were subject to higher tariffs from them. So what we saw was I don't know where he got those numbers. They're quite different from numbers that we normally see. And He was going to be lenient and charge only half what those other countries were supposedly charging us.
What do you make of that? I mean, it certainly didn't appear that it was the result of any particular math formula, or he didn't explain why it was half or less than half in some cases. What do you make of that?
I think all of them were half, except those that were rather low. Like he said, for Britain, he said that Britain subjects us to a 10% import duty, so he was going to charge them 10%. Everybody's going to be charged 10%. But I don't know where the original numbers came from, where he came up with numbers for a variety of countries and took half of those. All he said is that these were calculations given to him by the Secretary of Commerce.
So it's the tariffs that are being charged on American goods in those countries that appear to be somewhat of a puzzle.
Yes.
Okay.
Those numbers are very different from numbers that I have seen from, for example, the World Trade Organizations or the UN or any of the other normal economic bodies.
Well,
Much higher.
they're kind of important numbers. If you use those as the starting point, then you end with what the president is going to be charging tariffs for foreign
Mhm.
goods.
Yes. And every source I have seen suggests that the tariffs that our biggest trading partners charge us, with the exception of China, are not that different from what we charge them. He was correct when he said that we charge only about 2.5% tariffs on average. But the European Union, for example, charges around 3% on average. Uh, Canada and Mexico supposedly should have zero tariffs because of our free trade agreements with them. So there should be no significant differences among our major trading partners.
What do you expect to be the immediate result of this, say, when the stock market opens tomorrow morning?
Well, stock markets are very difficult to predict. I think that's a fool's errand, and I don't want to go that way. I would say I'd be more inclined to talk about the economy, and the economic effect, I think, is going to be very clear: an increase in prices because tariffs are, after all, an additional cost, and the cost is borne typically by the consumer. And we have evidence from the previous tariffs increases when in the last Trump administration, tariffs were put on washing machines and dryers. Prices here rose immediately to about the level of the tariffs. So I would expect certainly this would cause prices to go up, which is going to make the Fed's job more difficult because the Fed obviously would like to lower interest rates, but it cannot do that when there's inflationary pressure.
Of course, the president's explanation is that even if that were to be true, American factories will reopen, there will be more American jobs, and Americans will have more money to spend. Do you see it that way?
No, I don't see it that way because I don't think a lot of foreign companies or even American companies are going to start investing huge amounts here because investment is a long term thing. You don't make investments on the basis of what's happening just this month. And the tariff policies have been so unpredictable, uh, so erratic. It's what it is today. Next month might be quite different. And businesses hate uncertainty, and I would expect investment would be adversely affected by this uncertainty.
And if you were a businessman with a lot of money in plants and projects, or you sat on the board of directors of a big company, uh, wouldn't you be looking at the possibility that in 4 years or 8 years or whatever it might be that this could all go out the window?
Exactly. And I wouldn't want to be stuck with a big investment somewhere where the circumstances have changed. So I would say people would say slow down. If I were on the board of a company, I would definitely be rather reluctant to make any big investments right now.
Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth, in a brief statement after the president's remarks, said that she expects this is going to cost the average Illinois consumer $6,000 a year. I'm not sure where that comes from, but does that sound possible to you?
It is possible. I don't know if that is. I have not made any calculations myself, so I don't know. But it does seem possible. What I do know, for example, is that with the tariffs on cars, where the government has imposed 25% tariffs on imported cars, I would expect the price of cars to go up by anywhere between, depending on what car and how much of it is built here, to go up between $3,000 and $10,000 of a new car.
Because parts and raw materials come from overseas?
Yes, primarily because parts come from overseas. There's no such thing as an all-American car, uh, especially now with NAFTA and the subsequent U.S.-Mexico trade agreement, which of course was signed by Mr. Trump himself. Um, the auto industry is completely integrated in North America now. So some products cross the border 3 or 4 times, not just once. So if every time they cross the border you put a tariff on, you can see how much the prices will go up.
What's the worst case scenario from what happened today?
The worst case scenario I'm thinking about is something like what happened in 1929, 1930, early 1930s. You might remember the Smoot-Hawley tariffs, which were put on in 1929 by the United States. And our major trading partners retaliated by putting on tariffs on our products, and we got into a vicious cycle. And world trade fell by the value of world trade fell by about two-thirds in 4 years between 1929 and 1933. And while clearly did not cause the depression, I think most economists would say it made the depression deeper, it made it last longer. And that is what I'm really worried about.
Is that a worst case scenario or is that likely?
It's a worst case scenario. It is very possible that there'll be a retreat on both sides.
A rollback in some of these when.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. It is feasible. Yes.
Right. So I presume that based on that, you don't share the president's terminology of a golden age beginning today.
No, I wish I could, but I'm afraid what we are seeing is leaves me much more pessimistic about the economy. What I'm really worried about is a period of stagflation. May not be something like the Great Depression, but certainly stagflation is possible because we have clearly an increase in inflationary pressures. And at the same time, we may very well face rising unemployment as other countries raise tariffs on our products and our export industries suffer.